Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You know, inscribed on my dad's tombstone are the words, to give, to love, to live. And a very ordinary man who did, I think, some very special and extraordinary things. So when one thinks about a humanitarian award, one necessarily has to give thought to the fact that a thought is indeed a cause that can produce an effect. If your mind is in a loving state of mind, your experience of life is going to reflect that. The way to change the nature of your experience is to change the nature of your very thoughts. In our ability to think about something differently, that's what gives the power to make life different. One of the most positive transitions that one can make is, instead of viewing your job, your work as a job, it's in fact viewing it as a calling. And I must say that this has been a tremendous gift that I feel I've had from my own father. It's not necessarily about getting up each and every single day to earn a wage, but it's in fact an incredible gift to be able to experience what it might feel like to be in a position of power to give to others. What an incredible gift to experience life in that way. And so the recipient of tonight's award is an individual who came from extraordinary background. But when you meet her, as you will next year, because she was unfortunately not able to be with us tonight, you will find that this is a very ordinary individual who's done some really extraordinary things. Sivan Yaari took it upon herself to bring water to the world of individuals who necessarily could not access water. And it wasn't necessarily just because they didn't have the funds, but they didn't have necessarily the technology. She built these wells that created energy in the form of access to electricity, but energy also in the form of the very life-giving need to be able to sustain oneself. And she shared it selflessly across the whole of Africa. An Israeli who determined that her life should be necessarily committed to that gift that I spoke about earlier of being able to give to others. What an incredible life that she has lived. Sivan, unfortunately, was en route here to receive the award. And we would have been so honored to be able to have given this to her when she found news that her father-in-law had passed away. So she offers her apology, but she will certainly hopefully be with us next year to actually receive the physical award. I believe that we are, in fact, making a presentation to a representative of Sivan's.
Are you ready to have clean water?
Yay!
Sivan is a powerhouse.
She saw something and did something about it.
Sivan, she is an inspiration to all people.
She's very, very engaging and responsive.
And deeply committed to each village.
Those are attributes that allow people to embrace her and take her as part of their community's future and hopes.
She didn't only recognize the problem, but she was adamant to find a simple, sustainable solution.
Here comes this young lady with a passion and a know-how to bring fresh water to people who've never seen fresh water in their lives.
Moisa, EPT, water!
About 2.2 billion people living without access to safe water.
A desperate call in need of an urgent response.
Half of the continents have to leave their homes to access water.
Access to safe water is one of the most fundamental pillars for human health.
Africa is left behind and forgotten.
The main challenge in Africa is the lack of energy. Because there is no energy, people are still suffering. because there is no electricity in medical centers, there is no electricity in schools. But most importantly, because there is no energy, there is no access to clean water. And yet, the sun exists, the water exists, and with only a few solar panels, we can make a change. Innovation Africa is a non-profit organization with a very simple mission: to bring Israeli technologies to African villages. Since 2008, we have brought solar energy to power schools, medical centers, and most importantly, to pump water in rural African villages. Once we bring clean water to a village, everything changes. Children are going to school, now there is better education, less people are sick, but what inspires us the most is when we get back to a village, we see agriculture, brick making, we see economic independence. Energy is the key to break the cycle of poverty.
There's lots of flowing water below Africa, and you just got to know how to find it.
We build a 10-meter tower. On top of it, we install just a few solar panels in order to power the pump and pump the water to a tank. Through gravity, water then flows to the different taps that we install throughout the village.
My wife went to a King David Schools Foundation women's event, and Sivan was the speaker. And she came back from that event and said to me, I have to meet and talk to Sivan. And when I spoke to her, she said, well, South Africa is quite a wealthy country. She doesn't really see the need for the work that she does in South Africa. So I said to her, well, just go around the rural areas and have a look.
Sivan went away and did all her research and then reported back to us after 3 months. And she confirmed that rural areas in South Africa desperately needed access to clean drinking water.
I managed to get the trustees to agree to support Sivan in the initial development of what we would then call the water project.
We agreed to fund Innovation Africa with $1 million to support their first set of projects in South Africa. It was from those 11 villages that EDT initially funded that Innovation Africa has now completed almost 200 water projects in South Africa, impacting nearly 1 million people.
When I joined Innovation Africa, we were only operating in one region at that time. Now we are operating in 3 provinces, and we are, of course, planning to move to our 4th province.
In every village, we hire 10 people from the village, we pay them a salary, and for 4 months, they work with the contractor.
They provide them a lot of skills, such as scaffolding, pipe fitting, and many other skills which are components of the project.
By the time we leave, they know how to operate, how to maintain, and how to fix the solar water pumping system.
And it's a fairly straightforward situation, requiring very little maintenance, and it's very easily looked after by people that we train locally just to maintain it.
A key ingredient in the success of what Sivan and Innovation Africa do is the smarts of the technology that accompany this whole project.
What was very important for me from the beginning is to make sure that the pump that we install in a village will keep working. We invented an off-grid remote monitoring system.
We have a satellite view that we're able to look at daily and weekly.
Innovation Africa received an award with the UN, and we now have a special consultative status with the UN.
Sivan and Innovation Africa's work has touched the lives of over 5 million people across rural Africa. Of those, 800,000 are people in South Africa whose lives have been transformed thanks to Sivan and her team.
The warmth comes through her staff. Her passion comes through with her staff.
People who work in their organization really have a fantastic drive.
The team on the ground are always motivated to rally behind Sivan Yaari to achieve even more because of her vision and mission.
She's a tough cookie, you know. She manages her team tightly.
Really is very, very impactful work.
I went to the opening of one of the projects. The water came out in a tall glass for the first time. They gave it to me and I lifted it up and drank it, and these hundreds of people went crazy. I cannot tell you the joy that this clean water produced.
It's really about creating communities that become self-sustainable.
Where literally within days and weeks and months, you can see how people's lives have changed.
You go back and you see irrigation, you see agriculture, you see brickmaking.
Children can now go to school, get education. People can now grow food, have better nutrition.
And seeing how you can change a person's life left an impact on me that I can still recall it till today.
We are absolutely dumbstruck by the impact and the joy that it has created in those local communities.
She sleeps, she eats, she breathes Innovation Africa.
My hopes is that she never stops, that she continues with her great work.
She is certainly one of the most inspirational leaders that I've been privileged to meet, and definitely one of the most impactful humanitarians.
Mazel tov, Sivan. You deserve it in every which way.
You brought light, you brought education, you brought water, you brought food, and changed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people.
In Jewish tradition, we say, Kol Adam Olam Umlu. Each person is a universe. Innovation Africa has transformed over 5 million universes. Each life as precious and expansive as the next.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I just also ask if you would, there are many sponsors, but probably the most relevant and important sponsor, Nati and Francis Kirsch. You guys have provided her with the back office to ensure that she will continue to do her work for many, many years to come, and you deserve credit and praise for that.
Thank you very much, Mark Lubner. And now to bring us a message from Sivan herself. Give it up for Rabbi Shmuley Mopson.
One thing I can verify, there's definitely over 800 people here because I'm at table 76. So I just want to say that it really is an honor to be here. I'm not receiving the award in place of Sivan, who hopefully will be here next year, but she asked me to share a message with everyone here. I personally had the privilege of witnessing on a number of occasions the power and the joy that you can bring to people with small acts that became big acts. Sivan's story, which hopefully she will share, is a lady that came from an impoverished background, forced to move to Tanzania to work in the clothing industry, and she witnessed poverty at the age of 21, and she took it upon herself to change the world. The power of an act, the power of kindness is something that's immeasurable. The most profound, the most known person in the Torah is Moses, the greatest individual that ever lived. And the Torah only tells us one sentence about him. Moses was great because he was able to see the pain of other people. And Sivan, through Innovation Africa, has managed to change the lives of millions of people. She asked that I share this message, that as mentioned before, her husband David, a dear friend of mine, lost his father when she was en route to South Africa. She heard the news in Dubai when she was on the way here. And she wanted to send her sincere and heartfelt apologies for not able to be here tonight. In her words, this room is full of people I consider to be my closest family. The Lubners who have so kindly given me this honor. The Kirsch family, as mentioned, to have been the driving force behind Innovation Africa and have walked this journey with her for so many years. Sivan says, I'm looking forward to being at next year's APSA's Jewish Achievers Award to accept the trophy in person and to share my appreciation to the South African community. My heart is sore, but my mission is clear. Let's do this together with thanks, with blessings from a very special person, Sivan Yaari. Thank you very much.